Very good morning. How are you? We have emphasized the charity, NGO and SSG so far. The essence of the quality of public distribution system is laid in the collective responsibility. When the responsibility arises the arose of the society, when it is measured one part to another part. So public distribution system ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಫುಡ್ ಗ್ರೈನನ್ನು ಕೊಡುಗು ಮಾತ್ರವಲ್ಲದೆ ದ ನೀಡ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅಸೆನ್ಸನ್ನು ಕೊಡುಗು ಅಂತ. We know that public distribution system is a lifeline of food grain, and we have been studied so far from the agriculture point of view. Punjab and Haryana are the granaries of India. So, if you want a food, you should have a responsibility, not only the government, not only the private, it is our responsibility to reach out the last mile regard. ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ನಂಬ್ತೀರಾ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಮೇಕ್ ಎ ಸೆನ್ಸ್? ಎಸ್, ಮೇಕ್ ಎ ಸೆನ್ಸ್. ಕಲೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಯಾಕೆ ಬೇಕು? ಇಫ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ಲಿ ಥಿಂಕಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್ ಅಪ್ರೋಚ್, any dimension, any strategic phenomena of planning, you can reach out in a singular dimension, not in a multilateral dimension. So public distribution system means reach out the poor or vulnerable sections in terms of food granary. It is also one among the concepts for poverty alleviation program, and it is very emphasized on sustainable development goal number 2, that is zero hunger. So total public distribution system is based on two actions. One is we already studied the concept of hunger. Another one, nutrition. So those two topics are very mesmerizing on that particular day. This is a couple of information among hunger and nutrition. We know that 40% of the food are wasted a year, and 50 kg of the food are wasted by a person individually, and 20 to 30% of the vegetable are lost by the agriculture field. This is the statistic we pursued enough. But despite of the statistic, we are conquer the SDG number 2, that is zero hunger. You want a zero hunger? You want a zero hunger? What do you mean by zero hunger? Zero hunger means I will have a food that is my right. Zero hunger means I will have a food that is my right. I don't want my hungry, right? It's a twin balance problem of multilateral nutrition and hunger. So you are hungry or you want a food? You want a hungry? My God, Hina, that's a great, in that particular day, or you have a vrata? No. So hungry is nothing but, in India, we seen several distinguished years. In the year of 1991 to liberalization concept happened of the poverty. We mentioned the era of industrialization, poverty animation happened very soon. Now the poverty rate is only 10%, but before the poverty rate is huge, tremendous, right? About how many percent? 40% of poverty was there. But now we are not witnessing that much. Even after the despite of regional bias, gender inequality in terms of the tribal velocity, but it is not so far. We are developing and developed. Upcoming third largest economy, right? We are right now with the fourth largest economy. So the main action is to eradicate the hungry to the last mile regard. And we believed in the concept of Antyodaya to Sarvodaya, that is a Gandhian principle, and welfareism to people participation, that is Jawaharlal Nehru, the concept of wisdom of policy. And democratic country, you know, there are huge difference. We are the democratic country. Someone are capitalist, someone are rationalist. What is the difference with respect to food or granary or hunger or nutrition? That means It is a twin balance problem, but we saw in individual collectively. But in China, that is a capitalist country, ಅಥವಾ ಈ ರಾಜಕಾರಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಹತ್ವವಾದಂತಹ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಬೆಳೆಸಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಏನು ಹೋಗ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ ಅಂಥವರು ದೇ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಸೀನ್ ಇನ್ ಎ ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ಲ್ಯಾಟೆಂಟ್ ಫಿನಾಮಿನಾ. ಅವ್ರು ದೇ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಕೇರ್. ಈವನ್ ನಾರ್ತ್ ಕೊರಿಯಾ, ಯು ಸಾ ದ ಡಿಕ್ಟೇಟರ್ಶಿಪ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಪಾಸ್ಟ್ ಡಿಕ್ಟೇಟರ್ಶಿಪ್ ಮುಸೋಲಿನಿ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿರ್ಬೋದು ನೀವು, ಮುಸೋಲಿನಿ, ಹಿಟ್ಲರ್, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ here also someone are there to Hitler for the hitting. Yes, despite of the hungry concept, very important to resolve the hungry each and every individually. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಜೆಂಡರ್ ಬಯಾಸ್ ಇದೆಯಾ? No. Why? It's my right. Article 21 gives emphasize I have a right to my healthy life. That means we need a food. Okay? ಈಗ ಈ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲೋನ್ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯಿತು, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಿಲಿಟಿಯಿಂದ. ದರ್ ಆರ್ 3 types, one government, another one is private, another one is individual participation. I have emphasized myself and my friend Vinayak Petne, we both are went for the NGO, Petne Foundation, NGO. So we are bound to be and fortunate enough to give a something donation with our part. It's not a huge, we are not saying huge, but whatever we shall on that particular day or whatever they want to be. So this is the collective responsibility. Each essence make a sense, that is a welfareism. ಹೌದಾ? ಈಗ ಒಂದು ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಯಿತು. ಎರಡನೇ ಪಾರ್ಟು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಪಾಲಿಸಿ DPSPಯಲ್ಲಿ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ 39, ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ 47 ಎಂಫಸೈಸ್ಡ್ ದ ಸೋಷೋ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ವೆಲ್ಫೇರಿಸಮ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಡೆಮಾಕ್ರೆಟಿಕ್ ಸೆನ್ಸ್. ಹೌದಾ? ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಅವರ್ ಓನ್ ಡಾಕ್ಟ್ರಿನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಪಾಲಿಸಿ ಹಾನರಬಲ್ ದ ಫಾದರ್ ಆಫ್ ನೇಷನ್ ಮಹಾತ್ಮ ಗಾಂಧಿ ಎಂಫಸೈಡ್ ಸರ್ವೋದಯ ಟು ಅಂತ್ಯೋದಯ. ಈ ಒಂದು ರೆಸಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ನಿಗೆ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇವತ್ತಿಗೂ ಪಾವರ್ಟಿ ಅನಿಮೇಷನನ್ನು ಒಂದು ನಂಬರ್ 1 ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ಆಗಿ, ಮತ್ತು ಯುನೈಟೆಡ್ ನೇಷನ್ ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟಿ ಕೌನ್ಸಿಲ್ ಅಥವಾ ಯುನೈಟೆಡ್ ನೇಷನ್ 167 ನೇಷನ್ಸು ಪಾವರ್ಟಿ ಈ SDG ನಂಬರ್ 1 ಅಂತ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಯು ಗಾಟ್ ಟು ನೋ ದ ಹೋಲ್ ಪಿಕ್ಚರ್ ಆಫ್ ದ PDS ರೈಟ್ ನಾವು. Yes, we will move to very closely on this topic. It was very interesting topic and high score. General Studies 2, self-help group, non-governmental organization, charity, and collective responsibility on PDS. That is a fundamental topic. One question will be definite enough. I have been emphasized in the class, at least a question, one question will be there. If you are not prepared enough, you are not prepared GS2. This is that sense of adversity is there, and if you become an administration, you have to know the key pillar of society. This is the society of key pillar 1 concept. Okay? See closely. You know the lifeline of food security. The lifeline of food security means a channel. You are all hungry, I am the government body or the private body or the charitable trust. But I don't know how to give you that particular material which you need on that particular day. That is the food. That means the challenge. This is the gap. That gap is provided by the PDS, that is public distribution system. And the role, I have emphasized the support of the farmers, income inequality reducers, society welfareism, individual participation, the ethos and concern of the citizen, and government model approach, top down and bottom down, so on. Here the role is collective responsibility is the atma of this topic. You consider it. How many operation mechanism? Any distribution sector, there is a standard operation procedure. That SOP, the SOP, what we called in the business modeling, standard operation procedure. Here is what? 1, ಪ್ರೊಕ್ಯೂಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೇನು? ಗಿವಿಂಗ್ ಎ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್ ಇನ್ ಅಪ್ರಾಪ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ವೇ, which is not above the manner, which is not below the manner, which is equally proportional, which need to be. If you are hungry, I will give you a 50 kg of rice. That is enough for you. If you are hungry, I will give you 100 kg of rice. You are thrown away. Right? Maybe ego, lust, jealousy, go on. And if you are compatible enough, you are giving agar for 50 kg, that's a welfare, but it is individual risk, not for me. I don't know where it is going. Right? So procurement is one concept. That too in a food grain. Okay? How many numbers? You see, procurement is based on what? Minimum support price. Right? We all studied in agriculture concept the minimum support price for the farmers because of the anthropological and natural calamitical exchange, right? And also for the subsidy which is needy for that agriculture essence. Okay? So, ಅದನ್ನು ಈಗನ್ನು ನೀವು ಕಪಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, what you know, what they are grown, we brought enough and we have to give. This is the lifeline or linkage between the farmers and the needy people, that is the PDS. Agreed? Okay? Linkage. Next, storage. We have a go down, but the go down is not mechanized. ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ರೈನಿ ಸೀಸನಲ್ಲಿ ಮಳೆ ಬರ್ತದೆ, ಅಥವಾ ತುಂಬ ಶಾಖದ ದಿನ ಬೇಸಿಗೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬ ಅದು ಮುದ್ದೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಇರೋಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ದ ಸ್ಮೆಲ್ಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅಥವಾ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡರ್ಡ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೀಜರ್ ಹೈಜೀನ್ ಇರೋಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಆ ಥರದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಏನು ಯೂಸ್ ಇದೆ? ಇಫ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಗಿವಿಂಗ್ ಎ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ಫುಡ್, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಎ PDS. ಇಫ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ಫುಡ್, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಎ PDS. ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಹೇಳ್ತದೆ, ಬಿಲೋ ಪಾವರ್ಟಿ ಲೈನ್, BPL ಎಷ್ಟು ಪರ್ಸೆಂಟ್ ಜನ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ರೈಟ್ ನಾವು 2024 ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರಕಾರ 30 to 40% of the members or people are BPL card. And APL card, above poverty line, about 40 to 50% of the line. Why above poverty line are not having this kind of facility? That means they are economically stable enough. But below poverty line means there is a Tendulkar committee report. That Tendulkar committee report has a tremendous line segmented. That coverage above poverty line and below poverty line. Here the task is to empower the below poverty, to neutralize the poverty and make sure the above poverty. Right? So, allocation and distribution from the fair price shops. You know, intermediators, there are a lot of miscommunication between the public and government, right? They are bothered enough. They act as a pressure group, but they are not actually knowing the objective of the PDS right now. Some of them are very good enough, some of them are not. ಈಗ ಅಂತ್ಯೋದಯ ಅನ್ನ ಯೋಜನಾ ಅಂತ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಸ್ಕೀಮ್ ಇದೆ. ಅದೇನು ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ, BPLನಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜನ ಇನ್ನಿರೋರು ತೊಗೊಂಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜನ ಇನ್ನಿರೋರು ತೊಗೊಂಡಿರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ಫುಡ್ಡನ್ನು ಕೊಡಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ಎ ಗುಡ್ ಸ್ಕೀಮ್ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆರ್ ಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಆನ್ ಇಟ್. ಹೌದಾ? ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಎ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಎ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್. ಈವನ್ ದೋ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲಲ್ಲಿ ಗ್ರೇನರೀಸ್ ಲಾರ್ಜ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಯು ನೋ, ಪಂಜಾಬ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಹರಿಯಾಣ ಆರ್ ದ ಗ್ರೇನರೀಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ. But despite South Karnataka or South India are very much after with the masala powders and so on. So distribution from north to south, east to west is the key pillar. Howda? And it is not so easy. You know, now India, Afghanistan is a friendly nation between us. Okay? Earlier it was not. Because we build 50% of the infrastructure project and we build sophisticated, oriented, quality approach to them in order to make sure the sustainability to Afghanistan, even though Afghanistan leading the Taliban. But we are the friends now. They treat us a great nation, they treat us a friend of nations. So if we came to Afghanistan, they are not looking after the passport, they are not looking after the visa. They are welcoming us as a free. So because of the 50% of the infrastructure we built for them. So the COVID peninsula, you know how hectic was the COVID time. At that time, even India is suffering, but despite that India, our own globe, India, we helped Afghanistan and we helped the neighboring countries in terms of the food grains. So we are bottom and top-down approach with respect to PDS. So this is one kind of thing. Identification of the beneficiary is the biggest task. See, BPL is a one phenomena, but caste is not the phenomena. Caste is not the phenomena. BPL is the phenomena. That is only one agenda. But state government ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ಕಗೆ ಒಂದು ಕರಗ ಕ್ಯಾಸ್ಟಿಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರ ಕ್ಯಾಸ್ಟಿಗೆ ಮಾಡುವ ಕರ ಮಾಡ್ಕಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ರೀಜನಾಲಿಟಿಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. That is not the good way. You are also a people, I myself is a people. If I want to gain it my beneficiary, yes, of course it should be. Right? So the people mindset should be clean enough to get the massive benefit from the PDS system. And see, statistic, I have emphasized a lot many things. These PDS, public distribution system, about 2% of the GDP is providing all over the India every year. See, infrastructure we saw there is huge tremendous amount of capital investment is needed despite 1.5% of the GDP we are getting. But here 2% of the GDP, that's huge than the infrastructure, right? So how important? There is a lot of difference between important and immediate. I have emphasized earlier with different concept. But now the PDS is an important, the immediate is the welfareism, right? What is important? That's the PDS. What is immediate? For the welfare. That's a gap we have to fill. This is an idea. Okay? And I appreciate Chhattisgarh is one among the top states to getting the PDS system, public distribution system. And despite Bihar is vulnerable. Why it is also always Bihar is very lagging? Have you ever noticed the thing? Throughout the subject we talk about the Bihar, it is not going to give a wonderful opportunity to welfareism for the people. Reason the political nexus between the past decades. Political nexus ಅಂತಂದ್ರೇನು? ಪೀಪಲ್ಗೆ ವೆಲ್ಫೇರ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಕರಪ್ಷನ್, ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಕರಪ್ಷನ್, ಇಯರ್ ಟು ಇಯರ್ ಕರಪ್ಷನ್, ಕೋಲ್ ಸ್ಕ್ಯಾಮ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವೆರಿ sexual assault, any inequality. If you quote a loophole, that is there in the Bihar. That kind of agenda happened from past 30 years. That's why still it is negotiated. But we have to empower the Bihar. Now it is the era, because you know, now currently Bihar government is alliance of India Union, right? Nitin PM sir and Honorable PM sir, they are couple in the NDA, right? So it is a fortune enough to make sure the Bihar government is making the step ahead. And it is also a witnessing from the UP, Uttar Pradesh, is one of the great examples, significantly contributed each and every state subject rapidly, right? See, constitutional validity, I have spoken a lot about this. The grassroots methodology, Article 40, is the key pillar. And see, one thing, Article 38 and 43, which is emphasized on the social welfare. What do you mean by social welfare? Considering all, one for all for one. Considering Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Considering Antyodaya to Sarvodaya. Right? That means there is no one left behind. We are all one. That is the segment here. Article 39 means the livelihood. Only people need a food. No, even animals. If the people are getting, animals are sufficient enough to get, because the intermediation is not here. ಹೌದಾ? ಹಾಗೆ ಒಂದು ಗಾದೆ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ, ನಮಗೆ ಏನೂ ಇಲ್ಲ, ನಾವೆಂತ ಕೊಡುಗು ಅಂತ, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್. I think probably in this current generation are very equipped for to develop themselves individually. This is not the era of last 20 years, this is not the era of British, this is not the era of post-independence, this is the era of AI technology. Agreed? So people are good enough but not think enough. The lag is thinking. Earlier thinking was so high, implications are less. Here is the implication is so high. For what that implication makes essence of welfareism, they are not thinking. This is the ideological difference between the generation gap between you and our forefathers, right? Yeah. And timeline, if you see, concentrate on each term. I have emphasized this timeline. Not necessarily you have to remember, but it is necessarily you have to know this. Reason, one is how our public distribution system segmentorially channelizing. Another one, you can ask directly the question in PDS, not necessarily the what you mean by PDS, how it will be evolved. Green Revolution, talk about PDS. Poverty elevation, talk about PDS. Targeted PDS, what do you mean by that? National Food Security Act, what do you mean by that? Aadhaar steering and EPOS, what do you mean by that? Like that they will ask the question. Okay? That's why I have made a clear narrative over the period. Okay? From 1940, we witnessed the independence, after the post-independence, after the liberalization concept of Manmohan Singh and PV Narasimha Rao, after now the technology arrived, mobile, e-technology, so on. We are built now, we are developing now, but still we have to make sure the invisible poverty strongly, visible poverty 10%. For that, people are thinking now here, nutrition sensitive periods. To whomsoever concerned, 0 to 6 years, and the pregnant women and the vulnerable women, or it's not for the women, not for the women. Even LGBTQ community, they are also a great human being. They are also having sufficient food, not having sufficient food, right? So this is the targeted one. So ಇದು ಒಂದು ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟಿನ ಸ್ಕೀಮ್ ಅಗ್ರಿಕಲ್ಚರಲ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಷನಲ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ಹಂಗರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. You have to interlink the PDS term here in this particular topic, okay? And major PDS in India, Antyodaya Anna Yojana, it is the flagship initiative from Union government, one of the significantly contributed in terms of the food grains, basically the Punjab and Haryana. And I have spoken in one among the class, I think probably some of them are there, some of them are not there on that day. We are now finding out the sugar in the corn. Usually sugar ಯಾವುದರಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಿದೆ? ಭತ್ತದಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಿದೆ, ಕಬ್ಬಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಾಯಿದೆ, ಹೌದಾ? ಕಬ್ಬಿನಲ್ಲಿ. ಈಗ ಕಾರ್ನೇನಿಗೆ, ಆ ಕಾರ್ನಿಂದ ಶುಗರ್ ತೆಗೆಯುವ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಬಂದಿದೆ. This is done in our own Karnataka. Raichuru, you know Raichuru, Gulbarga, Raichuru nearby places are very welcoming for the corn revolution, right? If it is properly done, it can be massive effect on sugar revolutionary. ಸೊ ಬೆಲ್ಲ ಹೇಗೆ ಆಲ್ಟರ್ನೇಟಿವ್ ಇದೆ, ಸೊ ನಾವು ಕಬ್ಬಿನಿಂದ ಶುಗರ್ ತೆಗೆಯುವ ಬದಲು ಈಗನ್ನ ನಾವು ಯುಟಿಲಿಟಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಶುಗರ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ವಿ ಆರ್ ದ ನಂಬರ್ 1 ಆಗಿರ್ತೀವಿ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಅಮೇರಿಕಾ. ರೈಟ್ ನಾವು ಅಮೇರಿಕಾ ಇಸ್ ಲೀಡಿಂಗ್, ರೈಟ್? ಯುನೈಟೆಡ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಮೇರಿಕಾ. ಹಾಗೆ ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ, ಟಾರ್ಗೆಟೆಡ್ PDS ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು? ಫಾರ್ ಎ ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಅಥವಾ ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕ್ ರೀಜನ್, ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕ್ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಟಿ, ಲೈಕ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್. ಎಬೋ ಪಾವರ್ಟಿ ಲೈನ್ ಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಯಾಕೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ? ಬಿಲೋ ಪಾವರ್ಟಿ ಲೈನ್ ಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಯಾಕೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ? ಎಬೋ ಪಾವರ್ಟಿ ಲೈನ್ ಕಾರ್ಡು ನಾನ್ ಪೂರ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದರೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಬೇಕು ಸಬ್ಸಿಡಿ? ದೇ ಆರ್ ದ ಇನ್ವಿಸಿಬಲ್ ಪಾವರ್ಟಿ, ನಾಟ್ ದ ವಿಸಿಬಲ್ ಪಾವರ್ಟಿ. Not necessarily a GM category men are having rich. Not necessarily a BPL card holder are not having rich, right? It is not the dependence of the economic, it is dependent on the economic standards of particular individual hierarchy, right? Family household hierarchy. So any other card is not showing whether he is economically okay, it is not okay. Okay? It is okay when we people think twice, right? That is the essence here. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಟಾರ್ಗೆಟೆಡ್ ಅಂಕ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಾರ್ಮಲಾಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದಿತ್ತಲ್ಲ PDS ಅಂತ, ಹೌದಾ? ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ ಚಾಲೆಂಜಸ್ ಏನು ಬರ್ತದೆ, ಇಂಟರ್ಮೀಡಿಯೇಟ್ ಚಾಲೆಂಜ್ ಬರ್ತದೆ, ಲೂಪ್ ಹೋಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಎಂಪತಿ ಸಿಂಪತಿ ಎರಡೂ ಇದೆ, ಕರಪ್ಷನ್ ಮೊನೋಪಲಿಸಮ್ ಬೋತ್ ಇಂದ ಇದು. ಈಗ ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಟ್ ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದೀರಿ. ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಟ್ ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಎನಿ ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಟ್ ಬಾಡಿ ಗಿವಿಂಗ್ ಎನ್ ಎಕ್ಸೆನ್ಸ್, ಅಜಿತ್ ಪ್ರೇಮ್ ಜಿ, ರೈಟ್, Adani, Ambani, they are all giving contributing CSR activity. Now it is compulsory. Corporate social responsibility, anything which you can, you can. That is the agenda, corporate social responsibility. It's not the government only. So I shown a judiciary concept. ಒಂದು ತಕ್ಕಡಿಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೈವೇಟಿಗೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ವೆಲ್ಫೇರಿಗಮ್ಮಿಗೆ ಇದನ್ನು ಎತ್ತಿ ಹಿಡಿಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಬೋತ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಇಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾಂಡೇಟ್ರಿ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೈ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಪ್ರೈವೇಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ನರ್ಶಿಪ್ ಈಗ ರೈಟ್. ಗೊತ್ತಾಯಿತು? ಸೊ ಡೋನರ್ ಡಿಪೆಂಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬಾಡಿ. 60:40 ರೇಷಿಯೋದಲ್ಲಿ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಫೈನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಕಮಿಷನ್ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ 280 ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಅದೇ ನಾರ್ತ್ ಈಸ್ಟಿಗೆ 90:10 ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಈಗ ಅವರಿಬ್ಬರ ಅಂತರ ಯಾಕೆ? ನಾರ್ತ್ ಈಸ್ಟ್ 8 ಸಿಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ನಾರ್ತ್ ಈಸ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ ವಲ್ನರಬಲ್ ಅಂತನಾ, ಅಥವಾ ದ ಡೆಮೊಕ್ರೆಟಿಕಲಿ ಆಸ್ ನಮ್ಮಿಂದ ಕೈ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತನ, ದ ಚಿಕನ್ ನೆಕ್ ಕಾರಿಡಾರಿಂದ? ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ದೇ ಆರ್ ದ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟಿವ್, ದೇ ಆರ್ ಸೂಪರ್ ಅದರ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಪೆನಿನ್ಸುಲಾ, ಬಟ್ ದೇರ್ wisdom is needed. They are also a life boon. Even though some of the northeast is in hilly area, some of the northeast is in peninsula of the China border, some of the northeast is in Bhutan, some of the northeast is in Nepal. ಹೌದಾ? ಸೊ ಈ ಒಂದು ಇದರಿಂದ 90:10 ರೇಷಿಯೋದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಬಟ್ ಹಿಸ್ಟಾರಿಕಲಿ there is a reason. You know the Konark Sun temple, how many times it is invaded by the kingdoms? Not many kingdoms are affected the Konark Sun temple, right? ಸೊ ಇನ್ವೇಯಿಂಗ್ ಅಥವಾ ಈ ರಾಜಮನೆತನಗಳ ತಾನಾಶಾಹಿಗಳು ಬಂದು ಆ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರದೇಶಕ್ಕೆ ಹೊಕ್ಕಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಹಾಳು ಮಾಡುವಂಥ ಕ್ರಿಯೆ ಏನಿತ್ತು ಅದು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂತ. ಆಗ ಈ ರೀಗನ್ಗೆ 90:10 ಇವಾಗೂ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಗುಜರಾತ್ ಎಲ್ಲ 60:40 ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. 60 ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್, 40 ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸಾಲುತ್ತಾ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಸಾಲತ್ತೆ ಯಾವಾಗ? ನಾವು ಯಾವಾಗ ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ರೀಚ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ ಆವಾಗ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಯಾವ ಥರದ ಮೈಂಡ್ಸೆಟ್ ಇರಬೇಕು ಯೂತ್ಗೆ ಅಂತಂದರೆ, ಇಫ್ ಯು ವಾಂಟ್, ಯು ಆರ್ ಎ ಹಂಗ್ರಿ, ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಇಟ್. ಯು ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಹಂಗ್ರಿ, ಯು ಗಿವ್ ಇಟ್. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ ಶುಡ್ ನೀಡ್ ನಾವು. ಬಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಇಟ್ ದ ವೇ ದ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಯೂತ್ ಥಿಂಕ್? ಈಗ ಇಲ್ಲಲ್ಲ, ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಐಡಿಯಾಲಜಿಕಲ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಸ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅಂತ್ಯೋದಯ ಅನ್ನ ಯೋಜನಾ is the best PDS ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಒಂದು ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ PDS ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ್ಯೋದಯ ಅನ್ನ ಯೋಜನಾ ಅಂತ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಕರಿಬೋದು. 35 kg ಫುಡ್ ಗ್ರೈನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ, ನೋ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್ ವೆದರ್ ರೈಸ್, ವೆದರ್ ಗೋಧಿ ಆರ್ ವಾಟ್. ಹೈಲಿ ಸಬ್ಸಿಡೈಸ್ಡ್ ಫುಡ್ ಗ್ರೈನ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಹೈಲಿ ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟಿ. ಫುಡ್ ಅಗ್ರಿಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಆರ್ಗನೈಜೇಷನ್ FAO ಕೇಳಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ಅದು ಬೇಕಾದರೆ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಫುಡ್ ಗ್ರೈನರೀಸ್ ಗೋಡೌನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ಥರ. ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ನಿಮಗೆ ಈಗ ಒಂದು ಕಾಲ ಇತ್ತು, ಒಂದು ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಪಂಜಾಬ್ ಇಡೀ ಇಂಡಿಯಾಗೆ ಗೋಧಿಯನ್ನು ಕೊಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ರು, ಅಕ್ಕಿಯನ್ನು ಕೊಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ರು. ಒನ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಗಿವಿಂಗ್ ಆಲ್ ದ 28 ಆಗಿನ 28 ಸ್ಟೇಟಿಗೆ. ಸೊ ಹೌ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ದಟ್ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟಿ, ಅದು ಕಲೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಅಂತ. ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಾ? ಈಗ ಸಸ್ಟೈನಬಲ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಗೋಲ್ ನಂಬರ್ 17 ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಎಂಫಸೈಸ್ ದ ಬಿಲ್ಡ್. ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಫೋರಮ್ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀರಿ. ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಫೋರಮಲ್ಲಿ 2024 ರೀಬಿಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ದ ಟ್ರಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಲೋಗನ್ ಇದೆ. ರೀಬಿಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ದ ಟ್ರಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಕೇವಲ ಒಂದು ಪದದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದಾರ? ಅಲ್ಲ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲ. It starts from the hero to hero. Agreed? So this is also a one kind of opportunity to deal the things on the welfare income of the society being. Agreed? And food is the moral, food is not a charity, it's for the need, it's not for the greed. Number one. Food is the welcoming step to deal the things on a livelihood. Number two. And the true measure of any society can found how we treat the most vulnerable members. ಅಂದರೆ ಮಗರ್ ಕೆರೆಗ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್. ಹೌ ಮೆನಿ ಆಫ್ ಯು ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಬಿಕಮ್ ಮಗರ್ ಕೆರೆಗ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋದಾದರೆ, ದ ಟ್ರೂ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಯಾರು ಕೆಳಗೆ ಬೀಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಅವರನ್ನು ಎತ್ತಿ ಹಿಡಿಯುವುದು. ಅಗ್ರೀಡ್? ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ವಿಟ್ನೆಸ್ ದಟ್. ಅಗ್ರೀಡ್? ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಫುಡ್ ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟಿ is the first step towards the sustainable development. That is also I faced. And hunger is not a problem, it is an opportunity. ಅಂತ ತೆಂಡೂಲ್ಕರ್ ಕಮಿಟಿ ಒಂದು ಬ್ಯೂಟಿಫುಲ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನನ್ನು ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ. ಏನಂದರೆ, ಈ someone are poverty does not mean that they are not capable enough. Someone are poverty, that means the accessibility is not there, availability are not there. The PDS concept is laid with the principle of accessibility, availability, sustainability, welfare income of the concept. Is there any doubt? Thank you.